So there's a little story about vanilla milk tea. Now, I'd never seen those words and definitely had never drank anything called vanilla milk tea before. But Josh and I here on this trip, actually Josh Nolan and I a few days ago found this super cute place, which we're at right now, which in the tea section, because the only caffeine that I drink is green tea. So in the tea section, which I was getting excited about, they had a couple of interesting options, and one of them was vanilla milk tea. And that sounded amazing. I mean, who doesn't that sound amazing to? Vanilla milk tea. It just sounds like it sounds like home. It sounds like it's gonna hug you and love you and just make you feel amazing if you already aren't feeling that way. So anyway, so I ordered the vanilla milk tea. It was delicious. And then today, while Nolan is still sleeping, because we were up late, or mainly the two guys were up late watching a movie, and I really wanted this vanilla milk tea again. And so we, as it's raining here in Shanghai, we walked and walked and walked and walked, and then finally got into a cab to get to this super cute place called Sunflower. And sunflower, the flower part of sunflower is spelled Flour, because they have all these amazing breads. So we trekked over here because this vanilla milk tea was so good. So it's literally in my cup that I brought from home. And it just, as I'm feeling lighthearted and very vanilla milk tea-ish right now, it just made me think, about what our vanilla milk tea is, as far as not just our purpose work, but just what, underneath the umbrella of our purpose work, what is the vanilla milk tea version? In other words, what are the projects that are and or feel and or sort of emotionally taste like vanilla milk tea to you? Because it's those projects that are signaling to us what our purpose work is, what our true work in the world is. And now vanilla milk tea, as amazing as that sounds, because it is, vanilla milk tea is not necessarily, those vanilla milk tea projects, just like it was work, quote unquote work, to get here and find the place again and order them, finally. It was probably a good 45 minutes or so to then finally be sitting down and enjoying my vanilla milk tea. Vanilla milk tea projects, meaning the projects that really, that just excite us and that do feel like home, that do feel exciting, that do feel warm, that do feel in alignment to who we are. Those projects it doesn't necessarily mean that those projects are easy to come by, or in other words, that they are easy. Purpose work, our true work in the world. We do also get to, as great as it feels, meaning as great as those projects eventually feel, and how great that work in the world feels to us. It doesn't necessarily mean that we don't get to go through rain and, be uncomfortably sometimes carrying the umbrella and maybe starting to get a little hangry, which both of us were like, more me than Josh, definitely. I was like, okay, we need to find this place because I'm hungry. Like, I need protein, and I also need this vanilla milk tea. But to liken it to, again, the projects, like these passion projects that symbolize and that really express our true work in the world, it does not mean that work is always going to feel easy. Now, it might feel effortless. Easy is different than effortless. It might feel effortless. In other words, we might more easily find the people that come in, the people that come into our lives almost sort of magically to help us, to help us launch something, or to finally help us, put the sort of last remaining pieces on something. But again, effortlessness is different than things necessarily always being easy. when it's our purpose work. And I think sometimes we might think, maybe not always, but sometimes, some days we might think, but wait, if this is my purpose work, why isn't it easy? Or why isn't it easy? And maybe it's not easy because it's not meant to be. In other words, maybe looking at it with the filter of, but does this feel effortless? In other words, does this purpose work, do these passion projects feel not like I'm trying to, ram a square peg into a round hole, but where things actually do seem like they are more effortlessly working. Again, I meet the right people. I somehow always find the time. Clarity kind of always comes. That, again, the difference between effortlessness and effortlessness, or something being effortless and easy. Purpose work is not necessarily easy. Vanilla milk tea, again, those vanilla milk tea projects in our lives that really want to go. In other words, and that's really another way to find out or to sort of realize for ourselves, what projects to really focus on is really to ask ourselves, well, what projects, similar to me, I knew this morning that the thing that needed to go, or in other words, the thing that I was going to go for, that I was going to walk fast for, that I was going to go through rain, sleet, rain, hail, whatever, weather for here in Shanghai, to get to this vanilla milk tea. What are those projects? What are those goals that number one, that just sort of naturally want to be birthed, but then also that you are super aligned and super excited to go through whatever you need to go through to make that happen, because the people that you will impact and that you'll affect as a result of those passion projects and as a result of that purpose work are worth it, because the way that you feel doing that work is so worth it. And I think a lot of times, again, the work that is just sort of maybe in our excellence zone, maybe not so much in our genius zone, gets confusing in that way. And I feel like for many years, especially early on in my business, where I wasn't allowing my spirituality, and when I wasn't allowing sort of the fullness, the richness of this, multi-dimensional, multifaceted woman that I am, it felt like that. It felt confusing. In other words, I thought I was doing my true purpose work because I was good at something, right? But sometimes what you're good at is not necessarily good for you. And so I think the note to self is, allow yourself to take the time to reflect, to take the trips, to take the walks, to do the sort of calming of yourself that you need to do to figure out, wait, is this truly something that I'm excellent at? Because excellence sounds great, right? But it can be confusing because it's not, just because we are excellent at something and we're in that excellence zone doesn't necessarily mean that it is truly in our genius wheelhouse. So and I'm sure, you may or may not have done any reading on the different zones sort of achievement or a feeling, the excellence zone, and then above that is the genius zone. The genius zone is really not just, to not just keep it sort of intellectualized or super brainy. The genius zone in my eyes and in my perspective is really also about this soul work of ours, using our talents, using our innate talents, and then using the skills that we've learned as a human body, as a human being, to then extend out into purpose work, which is, again, the work that we can't not do. It's that work that probably you've known since the time, I think I've known since the time I was about, 14, 15. I didn't have the words then, but, I was searching out these really deep books around topics of spirituality and of, essentially self-realization and whatnot. And I didn't know what that meant back then. I just was super interested in it. And now it's coming full circle in this sort of, if you've read any of my stuff, I think from maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, if you haven't, I think it's down below in my feed here, but where I was talking about, after losing Dino and my mom, where I reevaluated everything. Everything was reevaluated, and in that reevaluation process, I realized that this idea of true purpose work, that there was just another level, and that other level that I got to play at. Again, when I now think back to the books I was reading at 14 and 15, it's like, oh wow, this is what I had an inkling of. What I had this very, very, again, I didn't have the conscious words for it, but I had an inkling of what that work was way back then. Why? Because our soul knows. Our soul knows exactly why we're here, and through the process of sort of remembering, you know what I mean, and in my 20s, in my 30s, now in my 40s, and having gone through certain life experiences, which even though they've been difficult, I'm super grateful for them, because would I have gotten where I am right at this very moment with, this clarity? I don't know. And I think the answer is really probably not. And so, to close this Shanghai moment up, what is that? What are those vanilla milk tea projects for you? What is that vanilla milk tea life for you? In other words, what do you really feel is, and that's the key word, not think. What do you think is your purpose work? No, what do you feel? And what probably have you felt for a long time that is your purpose work that you could now give yourself the freedom, the permission to really focus on? And regardless of if you have to walk through rain and, go through some, uncomfortable moments to get to that, to that work, to say yes to that work, knowing that you're definitely on the right path. If there is a little bit of pain, and suffering being different from pain, if there's a little bit of pain with your purpose work, that's okay. That is great, in fact. Again, purposeful pain, there is such a thing. And so, what is that vanilla milk tea that you will do whatever it is to get to, because you know that it is home. That those projects, that work in the world is truly where you will find home, and where a lot of other people will find home in as well, which is what I know and what I feel is where I'm at in my life and in my professional path and career is just being so charged, more than I've ever been to continue on this path of my own vanilla milk tea, not just for myself, not just what it feels like for me to be able to do that work, but way, way more so, again, than I ever have felt before, for how I can truly support other people, how I can support the greater good, how I can support other people to then also do their purpose work. Because it truly is, I believe, the more of us who feel that we are on purpose, that we are, living a meaningful life, that we are doing meaningful work, that the more and more of us who are doing that, that is what creates peace in the world. That is what creates true change, is more and more people not just loving the work they do, but loving themselves through the process. Because at the end of the day, that's what happens. When you and I get to do our purpose work, we are loving ourselves better. We're not chasing a version of success that is someone else's. We are living out, not even chasing for ourselves, we are living out the life that we are truly meant to live within our own definition of success. And what greater joy than to know that the success and the life and that the success that we are living out is truly something that is deeply, deeply rooted in what not just our heart and soul needs, but truly what the world needs. Because that is at the end of the day, purpose and meaning is not just created for and or within ourselves. It is created for the greater good. It is created for who else will also be tasting that sweet vanilla milk tea, along with us. So with that, Hello, again from Shanghai, and there's my vanilla milk tea. Here's Joshi. Say hello, Joshi. Have a great day, everyone, and happy early Thanksgiving.